what's your name and where are you from?
Hi, so I'm Nicolas from France, CTO of Ledger.
CTO of Ledger.
Yes.
What is Ledger?
So Ledger is a hardware wallet manufacturer, so we are designing several security solutions around Bitcoin based on protection of Bitcoin private keys and protection of Bitcoin transactions. So we have a set of products going from the simple Ledger Wallet Nano that a lot of people have been using already, looking like a USB key, from virtualized solution and trusted execution environment and HSMs. So we cover a large scope of hardware solutions to secure Bitcoin and blockchain transactions.
You're the only one on CeBIT. Why?
That's a good question, I guess. Perhaps people didn't have a lot of hardware to show. They figured that CeBIT was mostly about hardware or about IT solutions, and maybe, well, I don't exactly remember how many companies there were about Bitcoin last year. I think not many. So, well, it's a downward trend, but not that downward anyway. So, well, CeBIT was not very popular with Bitcoin last year, unfortunately, already. We find a lot of interesting feedback, and I think, one of the reasons might be because we are the only Bitcoin company, so we see a lot of people who already know a lot about Bitcoin and want to ask very specific questions. We see people that want to start their blockchain project, so we can point them in the right direction. We also see people that don't know anything about Bitcoin, that just see the nice balloon and want to ask stuff or just want to ask for some investment questions. So in that case, we just tell them to be very careful, and we are very honest with them. But yeah, we have been providing probably more than 10 introductions to Bitcoin to people who just decided to enter that technology and were interested by the sign or were just asking what Bitcoin was about. So I would say it's not disappointing.
Without this balloon, I wouldn't be here. What do you think? Can you maybe explain a little bit the blockchain and the applications that you see?
For the coming future, I think the blockchain, has been called by the Times, I think, at some point, the internet of the trust machine, and this is the important part, in my opinion. We will be able to create more applications relying on trust that we cannot modify. So I see a lot of applications working with proof of something put into the blockchain with kind of an authenticated stamping device that let us know that actually the truth cannot be compromised, and that something created at some point in the blockchain can always be there, always be verified independently of anybody, and able to still be there even if all companies disappeared. So one of the most innovative things I have seen with blockchain use cases are companies that want to put audits of their own devices into the blockchain. So for example, audit of let's say how a device is performing, so that you are able to know later that the company wasn't lying, and that could be those solutions, for example, could avoid the kind of problems that we had recently with Volkswagen and with.
I saw something that tried to release music on the blockchain also, and decide in the beginning how they want to spread it. Have you talked to any companies around here and explained that to them, where you may found that they could be interested in?
Yes, we had some talks about mostly putting proof of existence into the blockchain, because we have seen many companies with an IT background that were interested in having a different document track. So we have been promoting that use case of the blockchain, which is not for everyone. Even so, we are trying to make people aware that it's not just good to have a blockchain project if you don't have a specific thing to put inside it. But we have been I think we have been raising the awareness of and the possibilities of those projects a bit around there.
I guess mainly it's about notary and contract functions. Why are these why is the blockchain so good in this, or why is it where's the effect on the society maybe?
I think the effect is that we will be able to have proof that cannot be tampered and that everybody can verify. And I think that's really the key part. The key part is that you don't have to trust a company anymore, a specific company, to verify that things are as they are. So everybody will be able to audit, of course, with Of course, still with the collaboration of the company, because you only put hashes and you still need those hashes to have a meaning. But if everybody collaborates, it provides a framework to make things much easier and much more interoperable, which is very important as well, because new actors can enter and old actors can leave the system without disrupting the solutions as they are today. Today it's extremely complicated if you have a network of few companies that want to collaborate and share the data to add a new user into this system, because everybody has to agree and so on and so on. And with a blockchain solution, it's very simple to do that. I mean, you just get part into the scheme, whatever scheme it can be. I mean, it could be a sidechain, it could be a token, it could be just a way to encode something. You just have to encode things the same way, and then suddenly you're part of the system. So that makes things way more smooth, I would say, regarding newcomers and regarding, well, differences in actors playing into the system.
What do you think in the future if blockchain has success, and or also if Bitcoin will have success? What are the steps that we have to take in perspective to infrastructure in the banking sector, maybe also change in the market, and also what has to be done in perspective to marketing and advertise the technology to people who are not technically understanding it? Myself, I think that Bitcoin is already quite successful today. I mean, with this role of censorship resistant and decentralized store of value. If we want to improve that, and I think the important part is to improve the small use cases, I mean, that are not easy to do with banks today and not really replace the banks. So I'm thinking specifically about micropayments, where it can be complicated to do that with a credit card today. Sorry. Yes, I should try to find some water at some point. Oh yeah, we'll do that after the interview. So yeah, I think it's important to emphasize those kind of microtransactions, so which are not extremely small, but still which are more expensive for banks. So for example, I'm thinking about in France paying with a credit card under a certain amount, so depending on the size of your business, but it could be €3, it could be €5. Paying under this amount is extremely cumbersome for the merchant, because they will end up paying more fees than they collect in the end. So Bitcoin can be a good use case for payments for that kind of specific use case. But I think it will probably get really successful in that interoperability that we spoke about. Like, let's say you want to encode kind of a universal loyalty scheme in which people can enter and leave, and that's where I think the very interesting value is. So we will end up with people using Bitcoin, using specific tokens without even knowing that they are using Bitcoin or that token, but using the technological and interoperability benefits of relying on such a technology. So people will be less locked into proprietary system thanks to Bitcoin in the future, I think, without even knowing that they rely on Bitcoin. Can you maybe summarize it again and take one sentence per milestone? So what are the next 5 milestones in the next 10 or 20 years that we reach?
So I would say, focus on microtransactions, probably. Think about define systems that bring value to things that are difficult to do today. Make Bitcoin appear as something natural to people. So you don't have to even say that you are using Bitcoin, but deploy more applications that use Bitcoin underneath without necessarily wanting you to touch the wallet, to touch the currency, to understand all the different parts of it. I think Bitcoin shows a way to have more trust and more things that people can verify, and more things in which people can participate. So I think it shows a way towards the future where more people can participate into different aspects of society and verify that things are happening the way they were supposed to be.
So decentralization.
Decentralization and validation. I think validation is extremely important. So you don't have to trust a report that someone is doing. You can actually go download the report and verify that it hasn't been modified by anybody in the process.
Thank you so much for the interview, and good luck.
Hey, thank you.